Paul to the Colossians, chapter 1, verses 11 through 20. And Paul was writing to the church in Colossae about following Jesus. He, Jesus, is the image of the invisible God, the firstborn of all creation. For in him all things in heaven and on earth were created, things visible and invisible, whether thrones or dominions or rulers or powers. All things have been created through him and for him. He himself is before all things, and in him all things hold together. He is the head of the body, the church. He is the beginning, the firstborn from the dead, so that he might come to have first place in everything. For in him all the fullness of God was pleased to dwell, and through him God was pleased to reconcile to himself all things, whether on earth or in heaven, by making peace through the blood of his cross. Friends, this is the word of the Lord. Thanks be to God. Now, before we get too deeply into this message, I want to pose a question to you. On your last trip out and about around town or going out of town, how many orange cars did you see? Think about that question and see if you can remember seeing any cars that were painted orange. Hold on to that. So on this Christ the King Sunday, or Reign of Christ Sunday, we acknowledge the Lordship of Christ in our lives. Now, I say that as if it were a given. And most of us have made that claim at some point or another in our lives, probably multiple times. If you're a member of this church, or if you have been a member of another church, you have affirmed that Jesus Christ is your Lord. And if you have been ordained as an elder or as a deacon, or if you have been confirmed, you have made that assertion that Christ is your Lord. Now, when Paul wrote this letter to the church at Colossae, it was during a time when people believed that life circumstances were determined by any number of unseen spirits or gods exerting their will upon all of humanity. We would probably call it a pagan time, and there were beliefs in multiple gods. And the people believed that these unseen spirits required their obedience in order for the people to remain healthy, or for them to be successful in life, or for rain to come on their crops. That's the way the folks lived. And additionally, there were any number of secular philosophies floating around as well, each having specific beliefs and value systems. So as these early converts to Christianity learned about Jesus Christ, they probably wondered where Jesus fit into this panoply of spiritual forces and guides and philosophies. This was a new philosophy among so many others. But as Paul is writing to and instructing this small band of believers, he is faced with having to shift their understanding of what they believed about spirituality and philosophy. He was trying to explain to them that belief in Christ wasn't just one choice out of many competing dogmas lying around. Instead, Paul needed to teach them that in the face of all these other systems of belief, that Jesus Christ was the ultimate, that he was the pinnacle, the center of meaning and the center of all of life, and everything else faded in comparison. Now, in some ways, I think total allegiance to Christ seems almost easier when the belief in his lordship is not the dominant choice available. And I say that because in order to follow Christ, there needs to be a complete overhaul of one's understanding and doing of all things of life. Following him would be more of an all or nothing type belief system. It would be life-changing because his teachings were countercultural. His teaching stood in stark contrast to the normal way of life, where financial power and political power were the ways to get ahead in life. Now, in the United States, the understanding of Christianity and living a Christian life, I think it's fair to say, has been watered down. I might just have to take this mic off and hold it.
It's fine.
That's fine, okay. And we would hear that it has been watered down, and I think that would be an understatement. I remember back when I was a little kid in elementary school, back in Indiana, and it was the beginning of the school year, and I was filling out an information form, one of those forms that you get at the beginning of the year. Is this still on, or need to turn? Hello? Okay, there you go. All right, we'll do this one. Okay, so it's the beginning of the school year, and you're filling out all those forms, and this is back in the mid-70s, and they could ask you questions about what was your religion. I don't think they can do that anymore. So one of the questions on it was, what was your religion? And back then, I think the choices were only Christian Catholic, Christian Protestant, and Jewish, and then maybe there was something that said other. Oh, I didn't really know what we were. We didn't go to church. So I asked my parents, and they told me to choose Christian Protestant. I didn't know what that even meant. We didn't go to church, not even on Easter or Christmas Eve. And I only had the vaguest idea of who Jesus was. To be a Christian in the United States is almost synonymous with being born here. And at some point, I recognized the hypocrisy of choosing Christian Protestant, because I didn't even know what that meant, so I didn't choose anything. And I guess you could say I was one of the first nuns. N-O-N-E-S. Not N-U-N. And that's what I mean when I say that being a Christian here in the United States is much harder because what it means to be a Christian has become so watered down and so distorted from Christ's teachings of what it truly means to follow him. In some ways, Christianity has become irrelevant. If it's just a matter of checking a box on a form, what's the point? And while we might think that we are so much more sophisticated than the early church, back in the time, we don't believe in a bunch of spirits flying around and having to appease the gods for our crops to grow and whatnot. We don't believe in powers and dominions and authorities. Yet if you really think about it, we have our own set of powers and authorities that very much do exert their will over our lives. And in ways we have become fearful of them. A commentator, Catherine Matthews, wrote, "There is good reason to fear the power of greed and war and violence and addiction and commercialism, as well as the philosophies, values, and beliefs that shape our way of life today. Like an exaggerated individualism, excessive materialism," and I say that as we're going into the holiday Christmas shopping season, "and an unfounded trust in military might for our security. We don't have to look very far around us to see the negative impact that these powers have upon us and have had on our world. And we do indeed fear for the future of our children and our grandchildren." Well, in this passage from Colossians, the writer calms our fears by illustrating that we can see God's plan for this world, for all of creation, for all us in Jesus Christ. That ultimately the power of sin and suffering, the power of brokenness can be and has already been overthrown by Christ. The words that the writer uses are poetic. Perhaps, as some scholars have said, it was an early hymn of the church. Sometimes it takes poetry and metaphor to describe how Christ is over everything. It's hard for us to imagine this literally. So this language helps us to imagine the unimaginable. It reminds us that what is yet unseen is ever before us. If we could just catch those brief glimpses as God's realm does break through into our world. On this Reign of Christ Sunday, this last Sunday of the Christian year, we are reminded that that tiny little baby that was born into strange and mundane circumstances grew up and preached and taught people a new way of living. And it was a way of living that was so countercultural that the authorities feared him and took him and nailed him to a cross. They were afraid of his influence, so they treated Jesus as if he were just a common criminal. His resurrection gives us hope that his message can never be silenced, and that God's promised redemption is here and is now. Now, as our world hurtles through time and space, and while the sin and the suffering that we experience fall away piece by piece, we begin to see God's holy realm breaking through. Our challenge is to see through the common, distorted understanding of Christianity that it is present and all too dominant in our culture. And we are to seek and embrace Christ's true call to turn away from the powers that dominate our world, to live in a way that goes against everything our society is holding on to, that greed and that power seek only to destroy. The love of Jesus Christ is what will heal the brokenness of our world and of ourselves. So back to the orange cars. How many orange cars do you remember seeing on your last trip out and about? Probably 0, maybe 1. Next time you go out, look for them. You'll see them because, in fact, they are there. And once you start intentionally looking for orange cars, you're going to see them everywhere. And you're going to wonder why you didn't see them before. And here's the thing. The power of Jesus Christ, the power of one crucified, the power of one who stands against the powers of our world is there. Like the orange cars, we don't see it unless we're looking for it. So let's open our eyes, expand our awareness, and when we do, I think you'll be surprised at how much you see the power of Christ at work around us in this world. Wherever the voiceless are heard, wherever the oppressed are freed, wherever the hungry are given food, and the marginalized are brought into the circle of love and welcome. Each of these bright points is a point of light of Christ that penetrates into the darkness of this world. They are points of light that remind us of Christ's work and remind us of our calling to follow him in this countercultural reality, this countercultural journey that he has asked us to join him on. May we do so.